Hello and welcome, and thank you for your interest in this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York, covering the time from 2011 all the way back to 1963 when the group was established. This is segment 4 of the part that covers the years 2010 and 2011. The documentary actually consists of 2 parts. The part we're going to look at now covers the time from November 2010 through December 2011. The other part covers the time from October 2010 back to December 1963 when the group was established, and we invite you to look at that sometime also. Well, this part that we're going to look at now, covering the time from November 2010 through December 2011, actually has 5 segments. And we'll be looking at segment 4. But the other segments include segment 1, where there's an introduction to the documentary, an overview of it, some of the events of the group and other interests of some of the members. Segment 2 covers the positions in the group that begin with the letters A through H. Segment 3 has to do with the positions beginning with the letter I through Z. Also, what communications are used in the group, and also the numbers of members in the group over the years. In segment 4 that we're going to look at now, there's information about the members of Mensa of Northeastern New York who also have positions in American Mensa or in the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. Segment 5 of the documentary includes information about the nature and characteristics of American Mensa, the nature and characteristics of the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. It gives a close focus on the methodology that was used in the research and preparation of this documentary. It includes credits and acknowledgments for the many, many people who contributed to the research and preparation of this documentary. It includes a focus on the heritage of Mensa of Northeastern New York. It includes the reflections by the author after completing the research and preparation of the documentary, and it includes the closing. So, let's begin with a welcoming by President Rob Salkin.
Hi folks, my name is Rob Salkin. I'm the president of Mensa of Northeastern New York. I hold a variety of other positions in Mensa. I'm glad Leo's put together this documentary of our group, and you'll learn a little more about our group with this documentary. You'll hear about all the events that we have. We have Tavern Tuesday, we have a picnic in the park, we have games night, we have all sorts of other things that you'll hear more about. We also have a bunch of different officers you'll hear about. We have an events coordinator, we have a editor, we have a vice president, we have treasurer, we have all sorts of other things, and I hope you'll stick around and hear all about it. Thanks.
Well, Mensa of Northeastern New York is a part of American Mensa, and there's always been for a long time a very close and good working relationship between the local group and the national headquarters. But right now in 2011, there's an especially close relationship. There are 5 members of Mensa of Northeastern New York who have national level positions. 2 of our members are voting members of the American Mensa Committee, which is really the board of directors of American Mensa. And 2 other of our members have lead roles in the local level of national programs. And one of our members has a a lead role in Mensa Education and Research Foundation, one of their programs. So we have interviews with these members, and let's proceed to the interviews. Each interview has an introduction before the interview. Andrew Heffernan is the Regional Vice Chair of Region 1 of American Mensa. The role of Regional Vice Chair is to serve as a liaison between the National American Mensa Committee and the local groups throughout the region. The Region 1 includes several states. We actually have an interview with Andrew Heffernan, and we'll proceed to do that now. Hello, Andrew Heffernan. You became a Mensan in October 2007. You were active in MONI during 2008 and president of MONI in November 2008. And while a member of MONI, you ran for election and were elected as Regional Vice Chair of American Mensa Region 1 and began that in July 2011. As Regional Vice Chair for Region 1, you're a voting member of American Mensa Committee, which is actually the Board of Directors of American Mensa. And you were the very first member of Mensa of Northeastern New York ever to be an American Mensa Regional Vice Chair. Terrific. That makes you having a historic accomplishment right there. What is your role as Regional Vice Chair?
As Regional Vice Chair, as you mentioned, that is a position on the Board of Directors for American Mensa. I am a voting member, and I am also a liaison from the local groups to the national board. I write a column each month for the local newsletters in the region, and I help support the local groups in finding resources for any problems they may have in running their group. As Regional Vice Chair, I have several goals in my term, which is a 2-year term. The biggest goal I have is I believe that Mensa needs to leverage technology to help bolster the public image of the Mensa brand. I think that if we become more popular in the public eye, that we can attract more members, bring more attention to research of intelligence, and with more members, of course, we can build a more diverse and larger social experience for all of our members of all ages across the world.
Is there an involvement with Mensa Education and Research Association? A foundation?
Yes, each local group has the chance to participate in the scholarship program, and on a regional level we also support that and judge the scholarships each year. In addition, there are other programs like Culture Quest and the Colloquium, similar to what Harry Ringermacher had in this local group several years ago.
One of the things that was very good in MONI in 2011 was having the mind games. And that was interesting, and I know that you had a part to play in that. And now with respect to the Regional Vice Chair, do you have any specific things that you would like to be known for when your term is over?
When my term is over, I'm not the youngest board member in the history of Mensa. I'm not the first young board member in Mensa, but I hope that I am a board member that can stay involved and stay engaged for many more years and can bring fresh ideas with with a balance between new idea and being able to be implemented smoothly.
Well, Andrew, thank you very much. And you're making a major contribution to Mensa and to MONI and to all the other Mensa groups within Region 1. We thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Rob Salkin, a member of Mensa of Northeastern New York, is also the membership officer of the American Mensa Committee. The American Mensa Committee is basically the board of directors of American Mensa. The membership officer is a voting member of that group, has a one-year term. The primary function of the membership officer is to chair the membership committee, of which there are 10 members scattered throughout the United States, and to coordinate the activities relating to Mensa members and Mensa member benefits and services, also with respect to retention and membership renewals. One of the functions is to keep in contact with other members of the American Mensa Committee so that he can answer questions or make proposals relating to the membership that impact on any of the other functions and policies coming before the American Mensa Committee. Another one of the things that the membership officer does is make sure that the local membership officer workbook is up to date, and also to participate in any communications between the various local membership officers of the groups, sometimes electronically. Well, we have an interview with Rob Salkin about his role as membership officer, so let's proceed right to that now. Hello, Rob Salkin.
Hi.
I noticed that you became a member of Mensa in July of 2009, and then in Mensa of Northeastern New York, what we call MONI, you became the membership officer in November of 2009. The following year, become president in November 2010, and in 2011, in July, you became the American Mensa membership officer. This is a terrific progress. Shows great talent, ability, and goal-oriented achievement.
Thanks.
Those are that's very significant. Rob, as membership officer for American Mensa, what is your role and what do you envision in the future?
Well, there's a description of my job on the website and the policy documents and whatnot, and it talks about member retention and benefits and services and things like that. I really describe my role as trying to make Mensa as awesome as it can be to make sure that Mensans continue to be Mensans. Keep people on board, keep people involved, keep people interested in Mensa as an outlet for their creative talents, for their social needs, for anything that they want Mensa to be. There are a number of things that I want Mensa to do in the future to make sure that Mensa can be everything that it should be and more. Some of those things include figuring out what our core competencies are. What is it that Mensa does? What is it that Mensa does for the members? What is it that we do that we really shouldn't be doing because it distracts from our focus? Figuring those things out will give us a focus so that we can advance the things that we do well and make sure that members get value for their membership more so than they do now. Other things I'd like to do are make sure that we have the technology in place to analyze the data that we collect more data, and really get to know our members and see what it is that they value. I work with the membership director, Paige Faulkner, at the headquarters in Texas, and she and I discuss benefits and other things, and I want to make sure that the benefits in place for members are what they, what the members want and what the members need in their daily lives.
Well, thank you, Rob. We wish you great success. The Mensa Education and Research Foundation presents the Copper Black International Award for Creative Achievement. Harry Ringemacher, a member of Mensa of Northeastern New York, is and has been chair of the Copper Black Award Committee since 2007. Prior to becoming the chair of that committee, or even a member of it, Harry had received the Copper Black Award twice. He's the only person ever to have received it twice. The Copper Black International Award for Creative Achievement recognizes a Mensan who has produced an innovative, practical idea and successfully implemented it. And the award is based not only on the idea, but also its successful implementation. Any Mensan can be nominated for the award, any Mensan in good standing with any national Mensa. So that would include the American Mensa, but it also include all the other Mensa, national Mensa groups. In addition to that, any direct international member could be nominated for it. So this is really a worldwide award. It happens that we have an interview with Harry Ringemacher, the chair of the Copper Black Award Committee. So let's proceed right now to that interview. Hello, Harry. Harry Ringemacher, you are the chair of the Copper Black Award Committee. What is the purpose of the committee and who fosters it?
Hi, Leo. Yes, I was appointed chair of the committee after I won the Copper Black Award for the second time in 2007. I think they had the idea that I'd won enough, and that was it. So they offered me the chair. I accepted that. Copper Black Award is an award for creative achievement offered by American Mensa, and that award was endowed by Copper Black, who allotted some amount of money for the endowment. I don't know exactly how she got her money. I haven't been able to obtain that history. The award is assigned every year unless we so decide not to, which is also a possibility, and that actually happened in 2011. But generally speaking, we get a lot of applications every year, and we enough to have a committee of 6, including myself, and that committee then evaluates all the materials the Copper Black people, the nominations, send to us. Generally speaking, you can be self-nominated if you want, or someone can nominate you for the Copper Black Award, and either the nominator or the person that has self-nominated sends information to American Mensa, the national committee, and then that is forwarded to me, is looked over, and a decision made whether the application is valid. If the application is valid, I send that application and all the supporting materials to the committee members.
What are some of the aspects that the committee members consider?
Well, let me briefly mention the committee. Besides myself, there's John Blinky, Stuart Friedman, Walter Gannon, Kent Van Cleve, and John Frank. And they consider a number of different aspects of the writing and the content. I've created a new spreadsheet that allows a simpler evaluation of all that, well, at least what I call a quantitative evaluation. So instead of relying on, strict non-objective or subjective judgment, it helps to go to a well-defined set of rules. And these include things like, the simple one is, did they file an application? Other ones include, what's the problem at hand? What are they solving? I should say that Copper Black cited very specific requirements in the nature of the award. It was for creative achievement, but she specifically said it is not to include the arts. So that is simply not included. We've had applications where people write a book or worked on some artistic project within the art community, and they feel that that's creative, and that's true, but it doesn't qualify for the Copper Black Award. She really cited, she meant to cite the sciences and engineering, but also includes areas like teaching and instruction, bounding on the arts, but not quite the arts.
Who are some of the committee members, Harry?
I just mentioned the committee. John Blinky, Stuart Friedman, so on. And we all look at them at the nominations. Now the nominations really are from a variety of areas. We've had subjects like invention. In fact, the awards that I won, who, by the way, were I was nominated by Leo, so thanks, Leo. In any case,
Harry, the awards are only given for the creative achievement of the person who does it. So thank you for doing all that creation.
Yeah, but encouragement from Leo certainly helped. Invention are possibilities, and that really is the most common one. So a number of winners have had patents that are outstanding, very unique and creative. Other winners have had, one winner had a medical idea. It was actually utilized and was a winner. So, we've had winners in medicine, in science and engineering, in teaching. We had a winner that was a teacher and came up with a completely new idea that was actually patented, or a patent was applied for. And that person went out and sold his idea to various school systems, and they bought into it and are actually pursuing it. So
Harry,
things like that are important.
What was the basis of at least one of your awards?
The 2007 award was for a patent on X-ray that would replace film. And I nicknamed it FlexRay because it's like a flexible film, just like film, but it's all digital. So this particular film has transistors on it, and plastic transistors, all in plastic. So it can bend and flex and accommodate any shape. And that was revolutionary. No one had thought of something like that. Right now they make X-ray detectors that are glass flat panels. Those glass flat panels can shatter if you drop them. They're not very good in the field. So you have to be very, very careful with them, and they cost $60,000 at a shot. Flexible plastic would be a great improvement.
I understand that your other award had to do with non-destructive evaluation?
Right. The first award I got was for the thermal imaging work that I did at GE. That was recognized at a number of places, and the medical community gave me some recognition for that award. I won the Herschel Medal for Lifetime Achievement, and this was the American Academy of Thermology. And I've gotten awards from my own society, the American Society of Non-Destructive Testing, for that work. And that work was then described and submitted, along with patents that supported that, to the Copper Black Committee at the time.
Well, Harry, you've certainly done a marvelous job. The committee considers a lot of very great creation, and you're doing a wonderful job with the chair of that. Where are the awards presented?
The awards are presented annually at the annual gathering. I don't recall which gathering the last one. It might have been Las Vegas, I think. I got one of the awards, but it's usually presented at the uh, the Mensa Research Foundation ceremonies at the annual gathering.
Well, thank you very much, Harry, and we wish you the best in continuing this wonderful work.
Thank you, Leo.
American Mensa organizes a games competition each year. It's called Mind Games, and it's held at different locations throughout the United States. John Hornberger, a member of Mensa of Northeastern New York, arranged for the Mind Games to be held in 2011 in Albany, New York, be hosted by Mensa of Northeastern New York. In Mind Games, the manufacturers and inventors of games from around the world enter their new games, their new-to-market games, that is, games that have been on the market for less than a year. They enter them into the competition. And over a 3-day period, Mensans gather at the host location, divide into groups, play the games, fill out score sheets and comment cards, and rank their favorites. Then these are all added up and evaluated, and there are 5 games selected to be designated with the Mensa Select seals. And then the manufacturers are able to put the Mensa Select seal on their product. So it happens that we have an interview of John Hornberger, and so let's proceed with the interview right now.
Well, John, with respect to Mind Games, I understand that this is held throughout the United States, and it's hosted by groups. Can you give me some additional idea about what Mind Games really is?
Sure. Mind Games is obviously it's an annual meeting of board game enthusiasts within Mensa. It's coordinated on the national level by American Mensa, but it's hosted by local groups. Local groups vie for the privilege to host Mind Games. We were lucky enough to win, this last year's the privilege to host Mind Games this past year.
How many years in advance do you have to apply for it?
2 years in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Next year it's going to be hosted by Washington, D.C. area Mensa. But you have to apply 2 years in advance. We went up against some pretty big hitters, and we won. Like I said, we won the privilege to host.
How many people attended?
Well, we were just shy of 300 people, and 300 is a max based on the number of games that are available to play. And we were just shy, and we did set the bar. It's the highest, the largest number of attendees so far at a Mind Games.
Where did they come from?
They came from all over the place, from as far away actually as Iceland.
Wow.
The first international Mensa, the first international Mind Games, I should say. We had several Canadians and a few Icelanders.
How many games did you have, and how many games were the attendees expected to play?
Well, how many games did we have? I don't remember exactly. I think we had, 54 games, if memory serves. And then attendees are regularly expected to play 30 games. They have a list of 30 randomly selected games, or I should say randomly assigned games. They have to play these games between Friday afternoon and Sunday morning, and then they have to rate them in several categories and give fair and objective ratings to the games, and then vote for their favorites.
And what happens after they vote?
Well, the votes are tabulated, and then the best 5 games are awarded the Mensa Select seal, and those seals go on the boxes. The vendors, the producers of these games, are free to buy the labels and then put them on the boxes, and then they go on the boxes in the stores, where consumers can see those labels and use them to decide whether or not to buy the games. And they are actually valuable marketing tools. They're valued throughout the industry.
John, how many of the mind games have you attended throughout the United States?
I have attended 9 mind games, actually. They've been going since, there have been 21 total. I've attended 9 of them.
And what do you hope will happen with mind games in the future? Do you anticipate any changes, or should they continue about the same way?
Well, it's always been my hope that they would expand. There's a sort of a hole in terms of strategy games, in-depth strategy games. They're sort of missing. But the venue so far is really appropriate for the shorter family games. It's perfect for family games, for games that don't last more than, say, an hour. And that's what it's known for in the retail industry, and that's really what kind of games it attracts.
Are these going to be mostly electronic games?
No. Electronic games are okay. There are some electronic games that are okay, but electronic games tend to be handheld, solitaire type games. These are more sit-down, face-to-face interactive games, the kind of games that are great for family, game night. Not just family games, of course. Games that are great for friends to get together, whether they're adults or kids or whatever.
John, you have a very good and wide reputation for conducting games within Mensa of Northeastern New York. Would you like to comment on that?
Well, I have a monthly game night. I look forward to it. Many of us look forward to it every month. What can I say? We have anywhere from 4 to 40 people here at my house usually every month. We can stay up as late as 5 in the morning playing games. We have different themes. Our theme last night, actually, we just had game night last night. The theme was politics. It involved we played games involving political figures, geopolitical maps, and games that use, games that you use lies and deception to win.
Well, John, there's no question that you are the best gamester around. Your reputation, of course, is widespread locally. And now with Mind Games coming to Albany and Mensa of Northeastern New York, you have a national reputation as a gamester. Thank you very much for your contribution to Mensa.
Each year, American Mensa organizes a Culture Quest competition. Dean Howard, a member of Mensa of Northeastern New York, has organized Culture Quest teams within Mensa of Northeastern New York for several years. In 2011, Dean is the national coordinator of Culture Quest. Culture Quest may be considered a trivia game or a competition, which it is a competition, and its intent has always been to promote and test cultural literacy. The questions range all over the place, from film to politics, from literature to geography, from music to history, even further afield. And Mensa teams of up to 5 members gather in their own area, and on a single day and a single time for 90 minutes, they work up the answers and send them in for evaluation. This Culture Quest competition was started in 1990 over in Region 6. In 1992, it went on a national basis. In 1997, teams from Canada participated. And in 1999, there were teams for youth were started. Oh, it happens that we have an interview with Dean Howard. So let's proceed to that interview right now.
Hello, Dean Howard. You've been a member of Mensa since February of 2008, and also since 2008, you've been the coordinator in Mensa of Northeastern New York, Mensa, about every year. And now this year, you're the national coordinator for Culture Quest. What is Culture Quest, and what's your role in it?
Well, actually, I've been a member of local Mensa for about 5 years. I've been a member of Mensa since sometime in the 1980s. Culture Quest is it's a national event. It's something like a trivia quiz, but it's designed to be more general knowledge oriented. One year the coordinator defined it as questions that a college graduate with a library card would be likely to be able to answer. And I participated at least 15 years ago for like 2 years, and then somebody else got another team together in San Francisco. And that group, with an entirely different set of members, has frequently been one of the top 10 finishers nationally. And when I moved out here, I tried to get a team together. And I think the first year I moved out here too late to do it, and in 2008 we got one team together. And what happens is that people enjoy doing it so much they tell other people about it. Last year we had 4 full teams of adults and a team of high school students, which has a separate category, although they answer the same questions.
And how many, how do you organize the teams? How do you recruit for them?
Well, I've just announced it originally on our email list. Now we get the Facebook page. And it's always just word of mouth because people who've done it previous years tell other people about it.
How are the evaluations of the answers done? In fact, how are the answers submitted, and then how are they evaluated?
Oh, you just mail in the tests. Everybody does them at the same time. And actually, depending on where you are in the country, the clock time might be different, but everybody does it. It's like 4:30 if you live on the West Coast, or on the East Coast, and 1:30 if you're on the... I got that backwards. In our time zone, it's 4:30. On the West Coast, it's 1:30. Mm-hmm. And you have 90 minutes to answer as many as 300 questions. And you just simply write down the answers on the page and mail them in the next day. And whoever is handling it nationally just has a couple of weeks to score all of them. Then they mail them back to the teams, and then the teams have a chance to look over the questions and say, I think we should get credit for this answer. And they can mail them in and actually challenge the results, and then there's another round of rescoring, and you may get another point or two if your challenges are upheld.
What's a good score?
It depends on how the test turns out to be any given year. I've seen years when the top score has been like 265 out of 300, and I've seen where it's been below 200.
I see.
It depends on how difficult the coordinator decides to make it, and if it turns out to be harder or easier than they expected.
Now you're the national coordinator this year. Is that a continuing thing?
No, it's they seem to have somebody else do it each year. I actually don't know if it's something that you could repeat if you wanted to. I think it takes enough time. I don't think very many people want to do it year in and year out.
Do you have to write the questions?
Yes, I will.
I see. And is this coordinated by American Mensa or by the Mensa Foundation, Education and Research Foundation?
It's coordinated by Mensa. The teams are from the U.S. and Canada. I actually don't know if Canadian Mensa is actually involved in it, or if it's just traditional. We have some teams from there.
Mm-hmm. Now what are the prizes?
The prizes are just it's actually MRF scholarship funds for your local group. So the top, I believe 20 teams get a certain amount of money for their local scholarship fund.
I see. Well, just before we leave, how many years have you been in Mensa, Dean? You mentioned the 1980s?
I think I joined in 1984.
I see.
And yeah, I've probably done Culture Quest a dozen times at least.
Well, you're doing a great service by being a coordinator, both on the local level and a national level. And we thank you so much for doing that.
Okay, thank you too.
Well, this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York was prepared by Leo A. Kellogg, who was the first ever historian of Mensa of Northeastern New York. The documentary is copyrighted for and by Mensa of Northeastern New York, and all rights are reserved. Well, here's a listing of all of the segments of the November 2010 through December 2011 part of the documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York. When you're done looking at this summary, just go ahead and shut off your video. And we thank you for your interest in this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York. Hello and welcome, and thank you for your interest in this documentary about Mensa of Northeastern New York, covering the time from 2011 all the way back to 1963 when the group was established. This is segment 4 of the part that covers the years 2010 and 2011. The documentary actually consists of 2 parts. The part we're going to look at now covers the time from November 2010 through December 2011. The other part covers the time from October 2010 back to December 1963 when the group was established, and we invite you to look at that sometime also. Well, this part that we're going to look at now, covering the time from November 2010 through December 2011, actually has 5 segments. And we'll be looking at segment 4. But the other segments include segment 1, where there's an introduction to the documentary, an overview of it, some of the events of the group and other interests of some of the members. Segment 2 covers the positions in the group that begin with the letters A through H. Segment 3.
For Region 1, you're a voting member of American Mensa Committee, which is actually the board of directors of American Mensa. And you were the very first member of Mensa of Northeastern New York ever to be an American Mensa regional vice chair. Terrific. That makes you having a historic accomplishment right there. What is your role as regional vice chair?
As regional vice chair, as you mentioned, that is a position on the board of directors for American Mensa. I am a voting member, and I am also a liaison from the local groups to the national board. I write a column each month for the local newsletters in the region, and I help support the local groups in finding resources for any problems they may have in running their group. As regional vice chair, I have several goals in my term, which is a 2-year term. The biggest goal I have is I believe that Mensa needs to leverage technology to help bolster the public image of the Mensa brand. I think that if we become more popular in the public eye, that we can attract more members, bring more attention to research of intelligence.
Level of national programs. And one of our members has a lead role in Mensa Education and Research Foundation, one of their programs. So we have interviews with these members, and let's proceed to the introduce. Each interview has an introduction before the interview. Andrew Heffernan is the Regional Vice Chair of Region 1 of American Mensa. The role of Regional Vice Chair is to serve as a liaison between the National American Mensa Committee and the local groups throughout the region. And Region 1 includes several states. We actually have an interview with Andrew Heffernan, and we'll proceed to do that now.
Hello, Andrew Heffernan. You became a Mensan in October 2007. You were active in MONI during 2008 and president of MONI in November 2008. And while a member of MONI, you ran for election and were elected as Regional Vice Chair of American Mensa Region 1 and began that in July 2011. As Regional Vice Chair,
has to do with the positions, beginning with the letter I through Z. Also, what communications are used in the group, and also the numbers of members in the group over the years. In segment 4 that we're going to look at now, there's information about the members of Mensa of Northeastern New York who also have positions in American Mensa or in the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. Segment 5 of the documentary includes information about the nature and characteristics of American Mensa, the nature and characteristics of the Mensa Education and Research Foundation. It gives a close focus on the methodology that was used in the research and preparation of this documentary. It includes credits and acknowledgments for the many, many people who contributed to the research and preparation of this documentary. It includes a focus on the heritage of Mensa of Northeastern New York. It includes the reflections by the author after completing the research and preparation of the documentary, and it includes the closing. So, let's begin with a welcoming by President Rob Salkin.
Hi folks, my name is Rob Salkin. I'm the president of Mensa of Northeastern New York. I hold a variety of other positions in Mensa. I'm glad Leo's put together this documentary of our group, and you'll learn a little more about our group with this documentary. You'll hear about all the events that we have. We have Tavern Tuesday. We have a picnic in the park. We have games night. We have all sorts of other things that you'll hear more about. We also have a bunch of different officers you'll hear about. We have an events coordinator, we have a editor, we have a vice president, we have treasurer, we have all sorts of other things, and I hope you'll stick around and hear all about it. Thanks.
Well, Mensa of Northeastern New York is a part of American Mensa. And there's always been, for a long time, a very close and good working relationship between the local group and the national headquarters. But right now, in 2011, there's an especially close relationship. There are 5 members of Mensa of Northeastern New York who have national level positions. 2 of our members are voting members of the American Mensa Committee, which is really the board of directors of American Mensa. And 2 other of our members have lead roles in the local